Have you noticed that we are continually subjected to what we might call quick fix messaging? That is to say that wherever we turn in the modern world, we are offered solutions or what we might call quick fixes to all of our problems. 3 days in order to fix this, or 5 days in order to fix that, or a retreat to solve this problem, or a practice to solve that problem. Now, it's not to say that some of those solutions don't necessarily have efficacy, but I think we must start to become much more realistic about what the work of change involves, and also to have a more realistic position and understanding of the time frames that are required in terms of our input and energies and efforts to create meaningful change in our inner worlds. And that is why I often talk about this in terms of being the bad news and yet the good news of yoga. So the bad news in relation to yoga is that we need to do the thing, we need to do the practices, and we need to do them frequently and over a long period of time. The reason for this is because most of us, perhaps in our 30s or 40s and 50s perhaps, or older or even younger, have spent many, many years consolidating patterns that have brought us to, in different ways, a state or a place of imbalance. I'm saying this because most people who frequent the yoga space or who are interested in yoga generally arrive with a need or a desire to fix something. It may start with the body, or it may start with a challenge with the breath. And then gradually we find as we go deeper into yoga that it offers us the ability to transform so much more and to go so much deeper. And so what tends to happen is that we've accumulated all of these patterns over many, many years and decades. Now, in order to reverse those patterns, or in order to shift ourselves in a new direction, think about how much time we might need to spend in order to create a counterbalance to those energies or to those imbalances that have been accruing in our bodies, in our breath, in our minds, in our emotions, in our broader psychology over many, many years. Even if we're practicing regularly, for example, on the mat, a mat practice is only going to take up a small percentage of the overall time that we are awake each and every day. So actually, if we're not careful, we can practice on the mat, for example, every morning or every evening, and still find that during the rest of the day, what we're actually doing is continuing to consolidate the patterns that we've been accruing for many, many years and for many, many decades. And that is why also it's so important to understand that yoga, if we want it to be something that's effective in helping to drive and cultivate transformation in our lives, is something that doesn't just live on the mat. It's something that we need to bring with us in each and every moment of our lives, or as many moments as we can possibly muster. So that means talking ourselves down from difficult situations. It means stepping back from reactivity throughout the day. It may mean taking small, long, slow breaths in different pockets of the day where we have a moment, simply doing nothing. I was reminded this morning by my wife, I woke up and I seemed to be a little bit agitated, and I was moving quite quickly and sort of trying to rush my daughter to get ready because I had, in inverted commas, things I needed to get done today. And she kindly reminded me maybe I should just sit down for 10 minutes, take a breath, have a cup of tea, and then restart, which is what I did. So that again, that's a micro practice that you can bring into your day. So what I'm saying here is that actually we need to try to input as much time as possible over a long period of time, so that we can actually accrue the benefit of yoga, which is, of course, bringing ourselves towards more stability, towards more ease in our inner experience, and therefore also in our connections with those people around us. So the bad news is that we need to do this thing, and we need to do it on a regular basis, and we need to understand for that reason that we need to be compassionate to ourselves about the pace and the intensity with which we can expect change to arise. If we've been battling, let's say, with anger or jealousy or fear or anxiety or overwhelm or reactivity for many, many years, is it reasonable to expect that within 4 weeks we've solved the problem? That just simply doesn't make sense for so many reasons. The good news, however, is that yoga genuinely works at a very, very deep level. If we apply the enthusiasm, the discipline, and the sustained practice over a long period of time, we will undoubtedly notice that things begin to shift in our inner experience. We will find ourselves calmer more often than not. We will find ourselves in a state of feeling more balanced, more peaceful, more inner stability. We'll find ourselves in a space of being able to feel connected to a space of compassion, of love to other people, a feeling of interconnectedness with all the beings around us. And that will gradually grow more and more as a result of a successful practice. And again, what do we mean by a successful practice? It doesn't mean that we are able to conduct ourselves through lots of intense and extreme postures. What it means is that we are able to focus our minds inwards. We are able to create and cultivate a more beneficial, less toxic inner state to our bodies, to our minds, in terms of our emotions. And that manifests, just as I said before, in terms of just being more balanced as an individual within yourself, and also in terms of how we hold ourselves and account for ourselves within the world. So the reason that I mention this is because so often today we are given an idea that we can quickly solve a problem. And this is becoming more and more apparent in more and more areas of our lives. Go on holiday, it will solve a problem. Take this pill, it will solve a problem. Go on this diet, it will solve a problem, and so forth. What we need to try and be honest with ourselves about is whether we're taking something on that offers a quick fix, when in actual reality we know that the work that needs to be done goes a lot deeper and will inevitably take a lot longer than just a quick fix or a promise to make something better quite quickly. And I think in the modern world, we are becoming more and more attuned to taking what we might call the easy option, which is trying to find quick fixes for problems that go much, much deeper. And from a yogic perspective, what yoga would say about this is that we can't fix anything quickly. We have to go right to the root of, or the cause of the issue, in order to make progress, in order to make change. And so therefore we must be really, really careful when we are offered all of these shiny, beautiful things that offer us salvation within 5 minutes. And to be realistic and to say, actually, if I want to go deeper, if I don't want to paper over the cracks, if I don't want this issue to arise again at some future point in my life, then I really need to do the work, and I need to commit to that work over a long period of time and have faith that by going through a slightly longer process, that actually in the long run, this will bring me to a much more balanced place than always going for the quick fix. So it might be useful just to reflect at the moment the kind of things that you're up to in your life, what kind of things you're doing in hope of a quick fix, and actually whether that energy and that time might not be better spent going a little bit deeper in whatever discipline works for you in order to really get to the bottom of some of these issues. For me, it's been a long, long journey of yoga. It's been a long, long journey of therapy. It's been a long, long journey of all sorts of things that have accompanied those practices and those disciplines in order to bring me to this point. And this point is not a point where it's a completed article, absolutely not. Still a long, long way to go, but I have a faith in the practice and have a faith in the things that I'm doing over the long term. And I'm not impatient about understanding the fact that these things will unfold over the long term, and that I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to compromise the things that I've been working on at time to time as I go forward. But gradually, as these practices take hold over the years and over the decades, I may find myself, and we may find ourselves, in a more balanced and stable place. As always, thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed, please like the video. And as always, please do subscribe to this channel if you've liked the content. Many thanks.